When people think of Mr. Lee, they usually look at him as a teacher. People have mixed feelings about him, but over the years, I've seen him more as just a teacher. He's a coach and a mentor to me. When I first met Mr. Lee, it was my freshman year, summer freshman year, and again, I was really nervous to see how being at this part of the cross country team would be. And when I first saw him, met him, he led me to the captains. He told me, "All right, just follow their lead," and I was just really nervous to leave an impression. I wasn't sure how he would look at me as a person, considering I've never ran before. I was really out of shape. I was a bit heavier. I didn't look like a runner. And during that whole practice, I didn't perform really well. I had to walk. I stopped. It was hard for me to breathe at times because I was not in shape. And at the end of the practice, Mr. Lee came up to me, and although my memory is very, very vague and I can't remember, I remember that that in that moment he told me something along the lines that although this was my first practice, I still have a lot in me. I still have a lot of ahead of me, and looking back these 4 years, I'm forever grateful for Mr. Lee. He's Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, I would have to say, is a very wonderful person and has a cool life. To be honest, he's traveled to different parts of the world, such as Zimbabwe and Japan. He's been a graduate, Welsh Jesuit, but to, to add on to the previous point, he has a passion for running. He's been my coach for 4 years at Welsh Jesuit for cross country and track, and without him, I wouldn't be here today. One of the great one of the great qualities of Mr. Lee is his confidence and motivation. For for example, anytime I would show him my race plans and tell him, "Hey, I'm going to execute this. This is how I'm gonna go off in the 1K." He's always confident saying along those lines, "That's good. This is I like your plan. I like your ideas," and gives me a good sense of pride knowing that he's confident in me and I'm ready to execute my plan. I've had many I've had many fond memories with Mr. Lee. There's a few moments here and there where he's not afraid to speak his ideas and opinions out. I can't really give any examples because some of them are a little bit bad, so we're just not gonna talk about it. But I've had many fond memories of him over the years. One memory I've had was Mr. Lee was my sophomore year of cross country. I had a really good race and I hopped over the finish line and he came up to me and said, "You hopped over like a deer," and I started laughing because he was not wrong. It was true. Another fond memory was my junior year. There was two really cool moments, or just really two memories I've had the junior year. Um, first was McQuaid. So during McQuaid, we were not the team during McQuaid. It was during the pasta dinner, and we were loud. And Mr. Lee, Coach Lee, had gotten an email the week after, and let's just say this was the only time I ever saw him mad, and I was a bit scared. Also, junior year was during a workout. My teammate ended up passing me last second. It was 1,000 repeats, and in my mind, I was thinking, "Hey, all right, this workout's pretty easy. About to finish." My teammate ended up passing me, and as I was standing there in awe, Coach Lee came up to me and said, "Jason, you don't have any leg speed." And when he first said those words, I'm thinking, well, he's not wrong. I'm not that quick when it comes to sprinting. But then he followed up saying, "But I didn't have leg speed too." Knowing that he's been in my position before and he's confident in my ability to run. My junior year of track, I ended up breaking sixth in the mile. And one of the fond memories I did with him was I gave him a huge hug. Just to show him my appreciation, my thanks for coaching me the past 3 years at the time and giving him my thanks and gratitude. He's always prepared. Coach Lee is always prepared for practice. He has a set agenda. He knows how to execute it, and if any problems show up, he'll always improvise and change his plans. And finally, being a coach at Welsh Jesuit made me made me think for a while that I want to follow in his footsteps eventually. I've enjoyed the cross country team so much, from not only the people but from the coaches and mentor, that without him I wouldn't be here today. Thank you, Coach Lee, for everything.